What's up, guys? It's John, and I wanted to go into what I believe to be maybe the future of basketball. And we've seen this in the NFL. I always like to reassess, obviously. Beginning of the year, once Doc went to the Bucks, I'm not gonna lie. My prediction was we were gonna get Sixers, Bucks, and then Bucks Celtics. I really thought we were gonna get that. I still firmly believe the Celtics are going to win the whole thing, and I'm going to go into why. And as you can tell by the title, I think we should take a moment of silence in honor of the death of the super teams. And it's pretty glaringly obvious. So, unlike the NFL, I think the NBA listened to the fans that were just crying a foul and made adjustments. So, A, we're getting lower scoring games. And B, what are we getting? Ever since the All Star break and even before, every single team that is a super team has been unceremoniously eliminated. Before the playoffs, we had obviously the Warriors missed the play in. The Pelicans have Zion, they got booted. The Lakers, obviously, with LeBron, they just got eliminated. Almost in order, the MVPs are going. So Giannis won MVP, he got eliminated. And in the very next game, the guy who won MVP last year, Embiid, he's about to get eliminated. I'm ready to call it for the Knicks. And the reason being, once the Bucks lost, the Sixers lose a lot of value. And obviously, again, I was wrong. I thought we were going to get Sixers Bucks. So I'm not trying to act like I knew this. I'm going into what I believe is now obvious. So now we get the Pacers Knicks revisited from the 90s. They keep talking about how this is like the 90s. And tomorrow we got Cavs Magic. I think Cavs are going to win that one. And Clippers Mavs. They're the only two teams left, really, that they're both super teams. But if you look at the teams that are advancing and winning, well coached, cohesive teams without megastars. So Brunson and Halliburton are superstars, not megastars. They got great supporting cast. And then on the west side, obviously, the poster child is Jokic. I want to go into this because this is going to be great. I think the value here is going to be awesome. The Timberwolves are beating the Nuggets. I'm saying it right now. It's obvious. And I've said that with a few things and I was wrong. The reason the Sixers are beating the Nuggets the Wolves are beating the Nuggets is because of one man, and it's Anthony Edwards. Now you can see he's averaging 25. His rebounds, I think, are around like 5 or 6, and he's not even leading the team in assist. This guy is putting up role player numbers, yet they are pushing this man as Michael Jordan. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've gone into it multiple times. These inorganic pushes. And so what do we have? We have a well-coached team, and Anthony Edwards is the guy. Now, what's interesting is I went into this last year, how it's almost like an international guy wins and then an American guy wins. So we had, what was it, was it 2019 when the Bucks won, or was it 2021? Either way, we had the Bucks win, right, with Giannis. The Raptors won in 19, I believe. So we had an international team. Then we had LeBron win it in the bubble. Then we had Giannis international. Then we had the Warriors back to American. And then we had Jokic back to international. So to me, it makes perfect sense. It goes back to American. It just seems like that's what they're doing. It's a really weird pattern, but if you look at it, it goes back pretty far. And again, I think they want to push the international players, but they don't want any of them to be the face of the league. Otherwise, Luka would have been chosen last year. The guy, he even got Kobe's blessing. I went into a video how at Kobe's last appearance in the Dallas Lakers game, he actually gets up like a little child and runs up to, like, in a very jovial manner, runs up to Luka, and then they have some fun, and then he brings his kids up. And then he's sitting down, and LeBron runs up to him, and he doesn't even stand up. He just gives him a dap up. And at the time, I took that as some kind of secret ritual. At another occasion, Kobe said to Luka, "Hey, how's your health?" He said, "It's going good." And then Kobe proceeded to say, I love what I'm seeing, but I'd like to see it in different shoes. Obviously referring to Mambasito, which I believe was taken over after whatever happened to him. But a lot of Kobe stuff going on. And again, they're pushing Ant as the next Jordan. So I think they're going to push the next Kobe. And it's obviously been for a while now Jason Tatum. They just haven't really pulled the trigger. So I genuinely think we're going to get the Celtics. They're also really the last super team remaining. Again, we got the Clippers, Mavs. And the Mavs have two guys, really. And the Clippers, they're a super team, of course, but they're not like the Suns or the Bucks where they just traded. They kind of had some guys, then they added Harden. So it wasn't anything crazy. But I do find it interesting. So I think Americans winning this year. Again, I still have the Celtics winning. But the reason I genuinely think we're going to get an upset with Anthony Edwards beating the Nuggets is because, again, this inorganic push. I think you can make a lot of money picking this man to do 35 points basically every game in the series. It's 10 above his average, so you should be getting good odds on that. Of course, Vegas will probably set it at like 29 because they know. But I genuinely expect Anthony Edwards to have the best playoff performance of his career in this series. Again, which is a pretty, I wouldn't say a hot take, but it's a reach because why this series? Why now? And again, it's against the juggernauts. The one thing we've been consistent on is the Nuggets. They have to look basically unstoppable. And so far they have. I mean, if you go back into last year's finals, what have they lost? 3 games out of their last 12 or something? I don't know. No, more than that. Because, well, they swept the Lakers 4-0. Then they lost, 1 to the Heat, I think? Maybe 2. So 8-1, something like that. And then another 4-1. So like 12-2 in the last several playoff games. They've just been unstoppable, specifically at home. So I don't think any people, like, I think some people see the Wolves and they're like, okay, they're going to do it. I didn't believe in the Wolves. But my last video I went into, I'm going to reevaluate everything. I thought, if anything, the Nuggets move on and then they play Clippers or Mavs. That's out the window. Again, the teams that are winning are well-coached teams that have like one superstar, not really a megastar, even though they're pushing Ant as the next coming of Michael. And they have a bunch of role players like Rudy Gobert, like Conley, like Cat, that are just doing their jobs. Who do they have? Naz Reid, I think he won. He was up there for most improved. So, or comeback, I can't remember which one it was. I just think everything's lining up for the Wolves. So I wanted to go into these series coming up because they're going to be obvious. We know the Knicks are going to win now. Like the Sixers aren't coming back. They had their nice stand in Madison Square, and now they're losing. If they come back, I'll be very surprised. I still think with the Pacers winning, you got to go Knicks Pacers. They were even showing Spike Lee, so you can imagine Reggie Miller on the other end. And we can, again, revisit the 90s, which it seems like they're doing specifically with the Knicks. Every game is like, oh, the physicality is reminding us of watching the 90s. So I just really think now, after looking at it, Knicks Pacers. So going into the other ones, some of them aren't set up yet. It says 76ers Knicks. It's not going to be. Again, it's going to be Knicks Pacers. Mavericks, Clippers, I still have the Clippers winning the series. So I think the Clippers are going to win the series, go on to play the Thunder, and I do think the Clippers are going to beat the Thunder. So I think they're going to move on. I still have them going to the Western Conference Finals. Again, it's showing Mavs Clips because the series isn't over. But I'm just trying to give you a rough guesstimate. As you can see, the Wolves, T-Wolves is the only one, and then Thunder here. It's going to be Clippers in my opinion. That way you get Harden and Russ versus their old team. And of course Kawhi's got experience, so I think it makes sense. So again, I think we're going to get Clippers, and I think they're going to also show how Luka and Kyrie can't do it all. So Clippers to win the series is still good odds because they're down 3-2. Nobody's come back from 3-2 yet this whole time. So I think they're going to be, even ESPN said of these 5 teams, they showed the Magic, they showed the Bucks, they showed the Sixers, they showed the Clippers, and they showed whoever else it was. That are all down 3-2, and they said which of these 5 teams have the best chance of coming back. I think kind of hinting one of them is going to come back. And in my opinion, it makes the most sense to make that team the the Clippers. So yeah, I think we get Clippers Thunder. I think the Clippers are going to beat the Thunder in that series, and then we're going to get Wolves Nuggets, and I think the Wolves get them. Again, Anthony Edwards is going to go absolutely berserk in my opinion. I just have a feeling this push is too inorganic. It's out of nowhere. They're treating this guy like he's a top 3 player, and they did this a couple years ago with Tatum. They do it with whoever they really feel is, I guess, worthy. So that's what I think happens. And then we get Wolves versus the Clippers. And we can get to that if it happens. It's interesting. On 5-6, the Wolves are playing. They got 56 wins. Of course, that does. I mean, some people might say, "Oh, they're going to lose and stay on 56." Every time I've gone into that stuff, it just doesn't seem to work out. And plus, this isn't including their postseason record anyway. But yeah, Wolves beat Nuggets. Clippers beat Thunder, in my opinion, after they beat the Mavs. And then I think the Clippers are going to go ahead and beat the Wolves after Ant has some crazy performance. Maybe the team lets him down. Now on the East side, we're going to have Knicks Pacers, and we're going to have, in my opinion, Celtics Cavs. I think the Celtics win easy. Maybe not easy, but they're going to move on. There's no way they don't move on. The Vegas lines are just indicating way too much. Nobody's going to take the Celtics at minus 180 or whatever it is to win the East. So the Celtics move on, and then we get the Knicks and the Pacers. And it's interesting. Beginning of the year, I was all over the Pacers because of the love for Halliburton. I went into how they're going to make a run. They were the team, like you always pick a team that you think is going to make a run. They were my team that I thought would make the run. But after watching everything, and see, there's 2 narratives. You got Knicks, Celtics, and obviously there's Brunson and Tom Thibodeau, and it really gives me Lions vibes, which again, reminds me of when the Lions just went to the NFC Championship. But if you think of Pacers, Celtics, you got the Larry Bird connection. So you got the Kobe year, the Larry Bird connection. You got Ant being pushed as MJ. A lot of nostalgia. Sounds like they're copying WWE a little bit, which is smart of them. If you didn't see, Pat Mahomes just showed up at the Raw main event, the Raw event in Kansas City. He gave Logan Paul his Super Bowl rings. Logan Paul then proceeded to punch a guy, and that guy put more blood into those rings than Pat Mahomes ever could. He actually caught him in the face for real. You could see the dents immediately. Pretty cool bit. But again, Pat Mahomes looked more happy to be at the WWE event than he does to be in the Super Bowl, which just shows you where these guys' priorities are. They're entertainers. So yeah, I think we're going to get, this is my updated assessment. Again, we're never perfect, but if the Celtics win, I'll take that as a W, to be quite honest, because again, calling the winner from the beginning of the year is not easy. So there's times I'm wrong, and feel free to roast me for being way off on the Sixers and Bucks. It was just a narrative that I thought made sense. But you get the Bird connection with Pacers, Celtics, and you also avoid, even though they've had interesting matchups, the Celtics Knicks in the same division playing another at least 4 games when they've already played like 4 or 5 games. Yeah, they played 5 because the Celtics won the first 4, then the Knicks finally took the last one. We actually predicted they would win that one. So I think Brunson goes off, and the Pacers, they lost the in-season tournament, and maybe that was a little bit of a giveaway. LeBron gets humiliated in the playoffs after they won a meaningless tournament, and maybe the Pacers learn from that, or whatever they want to push, and they go ahead and beat the Knicks, and now they're in the Western Conference Finals. where I believe the Celtics will beat them in like 7 games, and then we're going to get the Clippers Celtics in the NBA Finals. So again, my finals prediction hasn't changed. That's basically been the same ever since the Lakers won the in-season tournament, as far as Clippers Celtics, and the Celtics winning's been the prediction all along. But I have had some of the matchups wrong, so I wanted to update it because obviously it's different now. We're going to definitely get, you see the Sixers making a run. I feel like even if they win this game, and it's hard to jump off a team that you've been on for a while, but again, I have to be honest. After the Bucks lost, a Sixers win just doesn't make sense to me. Sixers Pacers is not nearly as engaging as Knicks Pacers. Two hungry teams, Halliburton versus Brunson. It's pretty simple. They're both well coached, so that's what I think we get. And yeah, you can let me know what you think. I love the Larry Bird connection where if the Pacers play the Celtics, obviously those are his two teams. And then on the other end, you got the Thunder, the young guys, playing the old guys that used to be on the Thunder. I think that's where they're headed. And again, I wanted to get back to the death of the super teams. I mean, they're just getting bumped just unceremoniously. Dame and Giannis, history. Jimmy Butler, loser. Clippers, Mavs, both have kind of super team vibes. So maybe LeBron James maybe sent to retirement. Of course, Bron is going to get drafted and he's going to stay around. Suns humiliated with KD. He has to go bury his head in the sand. Warriors don't even make the playoffs. Nobody cares because it's Steph Curry and everyone loves him. But still, pretty embarrassing. Every one of these teams, and all the teams that are well coached and they don't have 5 superstars, they're the ones advancing. That's going to be the narrative. I think they're going to start talking about, it's a liability to get 2, 3 superstars because look at the Suns, and then look at the Nuggets, this organically built team who got 1 superstar and a bunch of good side players. Same with the Wolves. They made a point of all year saying how bad Gobert is, but then a few players have come out and said you have no idea how valuable he is. So again, it's all about fundamentals. I think they want to push because they know everybody thinks it's rigged for the right reasons. That the fundamentally sound teams are going to win. And the Celtics, they didn't do anything crazy. They re-signed a guy, and then they traded for a championship type player in Drew Holiday. So that's the reason I love the Celtics. When I saw Celtics Bucks like basically as the 2 teams to win the East at the beginning of the year, I immediately went to the Celtics. It's like, of course, people are going to go with Dame Giannis, but Drew Holiday makes so much more sense. Porzingis, they just have the right guys. And I do think they're not going to bury Tatum. The other guys make sense. It's almost like they're humiliating the veterans on their way out and putting over the new guys. Ant, SGA, Luka, Tatum. And again, Tatum we haven't seen do anything crazy yet. I think that's going to come. So yeah, the Ant push, I think you can make a lot of money again. Just pick an Ant to go ahead and drop 35 on the Nuggets basically every game, double up or something. You got to be getting plus 200 on it. I mean, even if they're giving him a few more points than his average, I feel like 35 is going to be. So my book lets me up it or lower it. So if I lowered it like a couple points below, I'd be getting like minus 200. But if I add a couple points to the set over under, I can get plus 200. I could pick them to get 50 and get plus 4 something. So it's really whatever you want to do. But of all the guys remaining left, Ant's going to be the guy. This series, Ant is going to go absolutely bonkers. Mark my words. So you can do what you want with that. He's getting the Michael Jordan treatment despite having like Rip Hamilton numbers. A little better than Rip Hamilton, but it's just very odd. His numbers don't even touch Brunson or again SGA or Luka. I can name 10 guys whose numbers and play are just superior, but they are pushing this man again like he is just single-handedly carrying the Wolves through the playoffs, and they're not going to do that and just have him lose. So yeah, I feel like with this WWE logic, it's very safe once it happens to take the. Well, you could pick them to win the series now, which I definitely would. Maybe hope that they drop the first game in Denver and then you can jump in. but that depends on what you want to do. And yeah, like I said, there's no way I think we don't get Knicks Pacers at this point. I thought the Doc redemption story made some sense once they got him, Sixers Bucks, but again, I think they're trying to stay away from that where we get these obvious scripts. So then Knicks Pacers seems a lot more organic, even though it's not, and I think that's what we're gonna get. So we might get a game 7. I have money on the Sixers futures because again I thought them and the Bucks would match up. So it's not like I am over here rooting for the Knicks, as you guys know. I just look at it from a WWE aspect. And with the Pacers win, I just think the Knicks have to get it done. I think that matchup has to happen, and I think it's going to happen. So if the Sixers do get it done tonight, that'd be nice because you can get some odds if you want to play the Knicks. They're my game 7 prediction, the Knicks win. And yeah, I think they match the Pacers up, and that basically knocks out, and then Embiid will be the last guy to be unceremoniously booted out of the playoffs, which really just leaves, obviously Jokic, but I feel like he's in a different category, and then Tatum. And again, the Celtics quote super team is a little different because it is a team that they've drafted and they've traded for a few guys, but they didn't go out there and get Jimmy Butler or go out there and get Dame. There were rumors they were trying to, but they just got a couple championship guys. So this whole series, by the way, has just been like WrestleMania. Both teams going on insane runs. Let's look at the quarters. Should be right around here. Okay, so you can see first quarter Knicks 14 sec. If you look at every game in this series, it's been like this. This can't be an accident. You don't just come out and play amazing and lights out, and then you drop 5 halfway through the second quarter. It just doesn't happen. It only happens, again, if you're scripting these games. So yeah, I just figured I'd go into this now because I had some time. Cavs are going to finish it off. The Magic aren't winning, and I love the under in that game. Last time it was 199.5. I suggested the under, and it finished at 201, but the line closed at 201.5. So maybe wait a little bit on the under, but this game's going under. I feel like it is Cavs Magic just because it's set so low. And Clippers Mavs probably go under too, to be quite honest. So both of those for tomorrow, I like the unders on. Of course, I like the Clippers to win. You see plus 250, so you might say, wow, that's crazy odds. And again, that one, I really do believe in the Clippers. It's just I believe in the Celtics so much. The other teams I'm not as, of course, convicted on. Like, I believe in them, but I just almost know the Celtics are going to win the whole thing. So it's kind of hard for me to say this team's definitely winning. But I do think the Clippers are going to tie it up, go to a game 7. And I do think that the Cavaliers are going to finish it out tomorrow night. So that's who I like. And again, more importantly, I wanted to go into where I felt like the NBA is heading. And again, that is well-coached, cohesive, non-super teams. All 4 of these teams now go ahead and replace the Sixers with the Pacers because I think that's what we're going to get. All 4 of these teams are teams that are not super teams. And they've knocked out every super team. Again, Suns, Warriors, Lakers. It's just pretty insane. The Heat aren't a super team, but you got the playoff Jimmy narrative, of course. And to me, it's just pretty crazy with all these teams that got 3 megastars, if you will, Hall of Famers, all getting booted. So you can let me know what you think, but I love the Wolves to beat the Nuggets, and I mean in the series. I think they're going to win the series. I genuinely do. I think they move on. They're not going to kill this Ant push now. He's got to beat Jokic, and I think that's going to happen. It doesn't do anything to Jokic's legacy. I know a lot of people are calling for the two-peat, but they've been doing that so much. Again, it feels like the NBA is trying to be a little bit different than the NFL and these other sports. So that tells me they're not going to do the two-peat. He got MVP again. I just don't think they give him a championship too. Then they'd have to put him ahead of Shaq, which they're very hesitant to do with some of these guys. They don't want to put certain guys ahead of others. You see it with LeBron and Jordan. Now, I guess that's for their own echo chamber. They've ended the argument of if LeBron is better than Jordan. because this Jordan never would have lost in 5 games. He never would have got swept last year. You're hearing that narrative all over the place. So I feel like just following their narratives, following where they're going. Anthony Edwards is the man. He's beaten the Nuggets. He's going to get all the credit. The line's already kind of fishy, to be honest, in Denver, 4.5. The Wolves are a great team, and maybe that's good. I just feel like typically Denver's going to be like -6, -7 in this type of game at home. I'll be curious to see the Wolves line at home. And yeah, the Pacers Celtics connection. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think the Pacers move on. Well, they already moved on. I think that the Knicks move on. And then the Pacers play the Knicks. And then they get by them and play the Celtics. And then again, I got Celtics Clippers. Maybe it'll be something else. Maybe because of Ant, it will be Celtics Wolves. Again, the West is... I'm more open in the West than I am in the East. So, like, again, my pick for the Celtics to win it all is, like, the one that... I guess the hill that I would die on. But as far as these other matchups, I do have, in my opinion, a pretty good read. So, we'll handle it one series at a time. And this next one coming up, I don't think it would hurt at all to take Wolves to win the series. And then for props, just ride Anthony Edwards. The guy is going to probably go over every single game. The way this man is being treated is reminding me of like Daniel Bryan or Cody Rhodes, where it's just like out of nowhere, oh my gosh, look at Anthony Edwards. And he's averaging 25. Not that that's bad, but by today's standards, he's not a top player at those numbers, unless he's getting assists and rebounds, which he's not. Or he's playing insane defense, which he's not. You got Brunson dropping 40 a night. So, yeah, I just love Anthony Edwards with the way they've been treating him. And still love the Celtics. But I wanted to go into my revision, I guess. And as you can see, this is a very close game now. Out of nowhere, the Sixers remembered how to play some offense, I guess, and remembered how to score. And the Knicks forgot, they're just out here probably launching stupid three-pointers. But either way, like I said, with the Bucks winning or losing, I just think it makes the most sense that we get Pacers Knicks. So, honestly, like I said, if you haven't played yet, or you haven't like played the series yet, it probably works out if the Sixers win this game, because then in Game 7 you can go ahead and take the Knicks to win the series, which I think they will. But they might finish it off tonight too, to be quite honest. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be a crazy game. We saw the ridiculous Maxi Magic in, the Maxi Magnets, whatever you want to call it, in Game 5. It was insane. So I expect the same. Brunson's going to go nuts. Maxi's going to go nuts. Maybe Embiid gets hurt, and that's the explanation they use. But I do think Giannis and Embiid getting eliminated in the same night is pretty interesting. And then if Jokic were to get eliminated, again, it's almost like they gave the international players their love, and now they're giving them a little bit of comeuppance. Just something I noticed. You could let me know what you think. I know a lot of people are still on Thunder to repeat and other teams, but for me, it's got to be the Celtics. And as far as the series coming up, I think it's got to be the Wolves to beat the Nuggets. So as new things come up, of course, I will reassess. I'll go into the semi-finals when they come up, the exact matchups. I think it's going to be Knicks Pacers, but if we get something else, I'll go into it, of course. And I'll go into it anyway. But this was more about, again, I don't have a eulogy prepared. Maybe in my next video I will give one. But for LeBron, for Kevin Durant, for Steph Curry, for Giannis, for Embiid, for all these top megastars that are just coincidentally getting swatted out like flies by teams that are well coached and have a bunch of role players. So you can let me know what you think. And it's going to be interesting going forward, I can say that. But I do like the Bird connection. I thought of that a little bit ago. And I think that'll be something interesting. And with the way, again, the year 24, you're going to have the Kobe connection. And Kobe, of course, played the Celtics in 2008. Doc was the coach. He just got eliminated. There's a lot of weird connections. But the biggest one I take away is Tatum because he was always pushed as the Kobe guy. I did a whole video on him because he put out a video and it was at the 120, no, not the 126. It was at the, I think the 621 mark because it was a 126 when the date Kobe's copter crashed. And he goes into all these different shoes he has. Oh, here are my KDs, here are my Jordans. And he got to his Kobe's and it was at the 621 mark. Really interesting. So they're pushing Tatum as the new Kobe for whatever reason. I know a lot of people are saying a zero can't win it. I disagree. I mean, if you look at the teams, most of the teams have a guy with a zero on them now. So, sure, I guess it could happen. If the Wolves win or something, I don't think they have a zero. But the Clippers got a zero, the Celtics got a zero. I think there's at least one more team with a zero. So, I'm not too subscribed to that theory. But you never know, anything can happen. But I just wanted to give my opinion on that and go into specifically Anthony Edwards, the new prince of the league. So let me know what you think, and again, as the series progresses, I'll definitely give my opinions. But again, tomorrow, I love the under on the Cavs. I like the under on the Clippers, so I like both games to go over. I like the Cavs for the cover, and I like the Clippers to win outright, force a game 7. So take care and happy earnings.